Joe Cortez here with the Faber Firm Show here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the boxing capital of the world. Today we're going to have two special guests, none other than former three-time world champion Tony the Tiger Lopez, who's a gentleman, first class. He's a bail bondsman today up in Sacramento, California. And then we have none other than Earnie Shavers, the hardest hitting heavyweight in the history of boxing. So we're going to have two special guests with us today. And right now we have Tony the Tiger Lopez, who's going to join us with this conversation. Tony the Tiger Lopez, how are you doing there today?
Hey, Joe, how's it going, buddy? How you doing?
Everything's going great, buddy. We were just talking about two of the great ones in boxing. And, of course, we got Earnie Shavers, former heavyweight contender. He's on live here in the studio with us. You're calling in from Sacramento. Tony, tell me a little bit about your boxing career. Now, you were a three-time world champion. Can you tell me a little bit about some of those memorable fights that you had?
You know, I can remember most of them. Like my first title fight with Rocky Lockridge. It was a 1988 fight of the year. You know, I kind of... the way I heard I had to fight, I guess my promoter was owed a favor, so they wanted some of my records of how I looked, some of my past fights. So they accepted. They said, "Yeah, we think it'd be a tough fight, but we can beat them." They accepted it, and that's how I kind of got. I heard I got the fight in the first place. But you know, what a lot of people don't understand is even in my earlier career, before the title fight, you know, I was Bobby Chicone's main sparring partner for the first 3 years of my career. It was his last 3, but it was my first 3. And so, you know, when people say, you know, he hits hard or this or that, I think nothing of it because, you know what, Bobby hit hard too, you know.
Right.
And you know, and I got, you know, was he a 2-time world champion? I got that much experience coming out of the locker room, you know. So, you know, I really don't worry about a whole lot of opponents. I mean, you do, but you don't. You know, it's going to be whatever it's going to be, right?
Right. Now, let me ask you a question. You fought Julio Cesar Chavez as well. Can you walk us through that fight a little bit? How did that fight take place, and what was the outcome? What actually happened in that contest?
You know, that was an interesting... That, you know, I was fighting for Don King at the time, and it's always... how do I say it? It's always a spectacle. The whole... It's a show. The whole thing's a show. Because King goes all out, and I'm a big fan of Don, and I still am, you know, and he did me 100% right. And you know, like with the fight with Chavez in Mexico, we went to his backyard. I didn't care. You know, people were saying I fight in my backyard, but who really cares? What matters is who's paying the bills and how much you're making. That's what really matters, you know. And so when we went down there. Like, here's the real truth. Here's what no one really understands, or no one really even knows. To this day that I'm talking to you right here, right now, we don't know how much Chavez weighed because he never made the weight. He was I think he was 2 or 3 hours late for the first, you know, for the weigh-in. Obucar, Trinidad, we're all there waiting for him. You know, we're hungry. We're ready to weigh in. And I think it was about 3. It was a long time, like 3 hours late. He gets on the scale. The scale goes straight to the top. He jumps right off, and he goes away. I mean, it was that fast. No one really got to say or do anything. He left. He was gone for another couple hours. And then we come back. You know, he comes back on the scale. He gets on the scale. He jumps on, jumps off that fast. And the thing was going up. I mean, it was so fast you really couldn't really see it. But, you know, it definitely wasn't 140. So they yelled 140. And so my dad started arguing with them guys. Because, no, he didn't make the weight, you know, blah, blah, blah. Put him back on the scale. They're saying, no, he already weighed in. He ain't going to do it. It was crazy.
Now, this fight took place in Mexico?
Yeah, we fought in Monterrey, Mexico.
Monterrey, okay.
Yeah, and it was crazy because my dad and Jose Suleiman were arguing. And then my dad, you know, they're speaking Spanish, you know. So my dad goes, that's why nobody wants to fight with you, because you cheat all the time. And Jose Suleiman got mad. And so he took off his jacket like they were going to fight. I figured, okay, there's going to be a prelim here. So I'm not tripping. As long as no one jumps in, I'm not hitting nobody. You know, just you know, as long as they let them go do what they got to do. My dad's a man. He can handle his own. So then, you know, people started separating him. And here's the funny part. Don King's, and you have all the world TV there. You know, there's like 1 million cameras there from all over the world. And so Don King's in the background. It's funny, 'cause I remember seeing him in the background. He's laughing. He's going, he's loving this. It was great. And then, so that's kind of settled down. And then I remember me and my dad were standing across from each other talking, and Chavez was on my right hand side.
Right.
And he wanted to walk in between us, I guess, right? And he kept, but he was in a bad mood. Like, he told us to move. Like, move. I'm like, dude, you're tripping. I know you ain't talking to me. So my dad looked at him and said, you want to get through? So he grabs him by his arm and pushes him through us, in between us, right?
Right.
Chavez turns around, and he looked at my dad like real crazy. I looked at him like, dude, I'll punch you. Don't even start now. Shit, boxing's one thing. We can street fight. Make this happen. And he looks at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, oh, do what you got to do. And he turned around, walked away. It was a spectacle, but it was really, really, it was kind of neat.
So that was already like the main event before the main event really took place.
Yeah, before that was the main event was the next day. The main event was supposed to be the day of the weigh-in. That was the main event, and it was good. Here's how I look at it: win, lose, or draw. I went there to do a job. My job was not to win a decision. That wasn't my job. That's not what I went there for.
Right.
I went there to knock him out in the last 2 rounds.
So tell me, walk us through the first round. What happened?
Nothing. Nothing really. Well, nothing of what I expected. I expected to get hit, and I expected to get hit really hard. So me getting hit hard it's not like I'm unstoppable. I'm not saying that, but when you get your body mentally ready and physically ready to be hit hard, and you expect it, and it doesn't happen. Because when I came back to the corner, the first thing they asked me was, "How does he hit?" I go, "He hits like a girl. Let me go." And my brother was training me at the time, and he goes, "No. Our deal was to box for 10 rounds."
Right.
I said, "Okay." So he goes, "You got to stick to the program. Go out there and use your boxing, right?" And again, I'm not a boxer, right? I never said I was.
You were a lover. You told me you were a lover.
Right. Well, and fighting was just a habit. You know what I mean?
You were not a fighter. You were a lover. Okay, I get it.
Right. And so.
What does he, Kathy?
That's just kind of how it went.
Yeah. So what happened? The second round, third round. What happened?
Nothing. I mean, it was. Remember, I'm boxing, so to me it wasn't even exciting. It was kind of like, okay. I told my brother, like in the 7th round, I believe, 6th or 7th round, somewhere around there. I go, dude. We're in the corner, and I go, dude. I go, he's hitting like a chick. I go, let me go. Oh, that might have been the 3rd round or something. Maybe it was sometime early in the fight.
Okay.
And I said, let me go. I go, let me go. Let me go do what I got to do. He goes, no, stick to the game plan. Okay. So, as every fighter knows, you should and always should listen to your cornerman, right?
Right.
So I do, So we're boxing. I get cut in the 2nd round. I get a little slight 2-stitch cut over my left eye, I believe, in the 2nd round, at the end of the 2nd round.
Well, did it come from a punch or come from a headbutt?
No, it was from a punch.
Okay.
And it really didn't. It was like, okay, it never bothered me. It never bothered me even after that. It never even opened up any worse. But in the 10th round, now I'm waiting for the 11th round. Remember, my job was 11th, 12th round. I'm going to go, guts to the wall. Whatever happens is going to happen, and it's going to happen in the last 2 rounds. I said that for a month and a half, the whole time when I was in Mexico. I said, I'm going to box for 10, and we're going to go to war, 11th and 12th, I'm going to knock them out. That was, as I said it the whole time. The day before the fight, we were on TV.
Right.
Before the weigh-in, we were on TV, went to a TV station, and, Chavez talked, I talked, and after I was saying, they're saying, okay, Tony, they're talking to me in Spanish. They're saying, hey, Tony, what's going to happen? And I said, I've been saying it all month and a half. I said, I'm going to go in the last, I'm going to box for 10. The last 2 rounds, we are going to war. Championship rounds, well, someone's got to go. And that's what I said the whole time I was there. So what really got to me, it's one of my biggest disappointing fights of my career. It is the only disappointing fight of my career. Because I went there to do something in the last 2 rounds of the fight. Everybody knew it. Maybe I shouldn't open my mouth, but everybody knew it.
Right.
Was there. So the 10th round, the doctor calls me. It's not even my cut never bothered me. I never once wiped it. I didn't do anything. It didn't bother me.
So what happened in the 11th, 12th round? What happened in those 2 last rounds?
Well, no, listen to this. So in the 10th round, referee calls me to the corner to go to the doctor. doctor never gets on the ring. He's standing on. Now, mind you, I'm what 8, 9 feet taller than the doctor because I'm on the ring. He's on the floor.
Right.
And so he goes up, and the doctor says, the referee says, hey, check out his eye. He looks at my eye, and he goes, oh, no, ya se acabó, ya se acabó. And I'm going, wait a minute. I'm going, why? What do you mean? I go, dude, for real. I told the guy in Spanish, I go, let me finish this round. I go, if I do not knock him out this round, I go, you can take the fight from me. I don't care. Just let me finish this round. And he goes, oh, no, ya se acabó, ya se acabó. And I was like,
so they stopped
whatever.
the fight.
Yeah, so they stopped in the 10th. You know?
Wow.
So I never got to do what I went to do.
Yeah, you should have never told anybody you're going to do it in the last 2 rounds. You should have went out there and you did what you had to do earlier. Anyway, the thing was, it's a great, memorable fight. You became champion again after that. Walk us through the second championship.
You see, that was going to be my. Oh yeah, no, that was my third one. That was my third after that.
Okay.
That was with Joey Gamache.
Joey Camacho, yeah.
Joey Gamache went to Portland, Maine, to fight in Joey. Because remember, I was known for never leaving Sacramento, right?
Right.
Everybody goes, oh yeah, he's not a great fighter at Sacramento. He can only fight in Sacramento. I'm like, shh. No one's paying me more money than Sacramento. That's what determines the fight.
Yeah, you had always sell out crowds in Sacramento.
Yeah, you know, is it the champion that kind of decides where it could be, but you know what was decided back then was the dollar bill. You know, because here's the truth for me. Here's my truth. I got into boxing to make money. You know, to make my life a little bit better, right? So I'm gonna go where money tells me to go. If money says, "Hey, Tony, you ain't the champion no more," so guess what? You got to go to Portland, Maine. Well, we're going. I'll just jump on a flight and go. That's what I did. You know, went down to Portland, Maine, to fight Joey Gamache for his WBA title, and went to. Everybody was going like, "Oh man, Portland, Maine was nice."
Right.
I love Portland, Maine. I still have friends on Facebook from Portland, Maine. Still talk to them, and you know, went down there, and you know, met up with Joey. He seemed like a good guy. You know, I don't really have anything against any of the people I fight with. I mean, it's a job. It's what we do. You know, I don't take it no more than that.
Right.
And so, you know, and we, you know, he was there. You know, we were doing our thing. I knew this. I knew he was going to be faster than me for the first 6 or 7 rounds. I knew that. I knew that walked into the ring. Any boxing enthusiast could have told you that. Shoot, my grandma could have told you that. You know, because obviously I'm not a very fast fighter. I'm not slow, but I'm by far not fast. So my thing was, and always has been, as with the Molina fight, you know, you got to catch him. You got to take him past 6 or 7 rounds to slow him down.
Right.
Once you start to slow him down, you start to wear on him, and that's when you can take him out if you can. You know, and that was my job when I went to go to Portland, Maine, was not to try to beat.
Okay, so what's the bottom line? So what happened there?
What happened there was he won the first 6 rounds. After that, he was tired. I caught him in I believe the 11th, and knocked him out in the 11th round.
So you knocked him out 11th round, so you became champion once again.
Yes, sir.
Well, okay, Tony, you know, you have quite a history behind you. You are an amazing individual. People want to know, what are you doing these days?
Well, I'm about ready to get out of California. They're getting rid of Bell. They're going to try to get rid of Bell. I don't think they're really going to.
Okay, so you're in the bail bondsman business. You've been doing that for how many years now?
19 years.
19 years. And you're ready to, they're going to cut the bail bonds out in Sacramento. Where are you going to go from there?
We're looking in Henderson and right now, and that other part. What's the other part in Henderson?
You got Henderson and you got Summerlin?
Summerlin. There you go.
Summerlin. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's not too
Over
far
there,
from where I live here in Las Vegas. All right. So that's good. So I'm going to have you as my neighbor. That's pretty good. What are you going to be doing here in Las Vegas?
You know, I don't know yet. We're going to kind of figure it out as we go. My wife is she's going to do the that new eyebrow thing. She's all into that. What's that? I can't remember the name. This new eyebrow stuff that you put on eyebrows that lasts about a year or something.
Are they going to do something for you?
Not for me.
Not for you. I mean, wait, after the scar tissues and whatnot, maybe they'll put some eyebrows over the scar tissues.
Yeah, right? I'd keep her busy for a year, you know?
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good.
I cut a lot. You know, Mary said I used to get cut a lot. You know, but the problem was it never really bothered me. You know, it was like, whatever. You know, it's part of what you do, right?
Tony, people tell me that you still have a little spark of the old flash. You still got a little, that your tank is not empty. You still got a little fire in the belly.
Yeah. You know what? I don't think it ever goes away. You know, I really don't, because, like I tell, you know, it's not like I'm always someplace. Well, you know, once in a while you run into a young kid that, you know, heard of you when his grandpa talked about you. You know,
Yeah.
a young kid, and he grew up, and sometimes, and now they're, you know, this generation just has no respect, you know, and sometimes they say stupid things to you. You know, I wouldn't walk up to a football player, on a linebacker on the worst team, and say, hey, I bet you I can beat you in tackle football. You know? So why would you challenge a 3-time world champion to a fight? That's kind of just stupid.
Okay, Tony, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to go into a little brief commercial, and we're going to bring you right back. We're back here again with our former champion, Tony the Tiger Lopez. Tony,
Yeah.
you have been an inspiration to so many of us. I've seen you in celebrity golf tournaments. You've been a golfer. You know, every time I look at you hitting that golf ball, I think you're going to hit it all the way straight down. And what happens? I got to look to my right, to my left, because you always get the balls in the bushes, in the trees. What's going on with that?
Well, you know, I've tightened up my game. You know, my next challenge, I want to challenge. Well, since you know we're both in the okay, maybe he's a little bit younger than me, but I'm thinking about challenging Tiger Woods to my next game. So, I mean, I've stepped up my game a lot there, Joe.
You have, eh?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. That's good. I know you got a heart of a lion, but they call you the tiger. So I don't know which is tougher, the lion or the tiger.
The Tiger's always tough.
Okay, the tiger. Okay, I'll go along with that. Tony, to answer another question. Now, you have been in boxing most of your life from a kid growing up, and now here you are, a young man looking to make a move out to either Henderson, Nevada, or Summerlin, Nevada. I mean, Summerlin in Las Vegas. It's a beautiful. But you know, that part of the town is for the. It's a senior citizen type of a location. You consider yourself a senior yet, or what?
You know, if I am, I surely don't act like it.
I know you don't act like that. You don't look like it.
Right? You don't know. But
I don't know.
My wife wants to get into microblading. That's what it's called.
Microblading.
Yeah, she wants to do microblading.
Oh, okay.
So-
Well,
so
they could use you as a guinea pig and start with your scars on your eyebrows.
She's already started that.
She started that. Okay.
Don't tell nobody because you know I don't want to know. She's practicing on my eyebrows.
Oh, how you looking? You looking pretty or what?
I'm a pretty man.
You're a pretty man. Okay, I thought that was Muhammad Ali's line, but okay, I'll let you steal it for today.
That's right. One time ain't gonna kill us.
Talking about Muhammad Ali, Tony, I have none other than the hardest hitting heavyweight in the history of boxing. Muhammad Ali always said, Earnie Shaver is a man you got to stay away from because a man is always there to hit you. He says the right one gets you, the left one will. Say hello to Earnie Shavers.
Ernie,
Hello. How you doing,
how
champ?
you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
Good. Not bad, my man.
That's good. Take good care of
Sounds
yourself,
good, buddy.
Tony, Earnie Shaver looks as good as he did back in the days when he was fighting Muhammad Ali. You know, you recall Ernie went 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali, and we're going to talk more about that during the segment of this show today. But Earnie Shavers, I mean, fought them all. He fought Ken Norton, Larry Holmes, Jerry Quarry. He fought them all. Ernie, tell us a little bit about some of the heavyweights that you fought in your era.
Well, I fought Ali, Larry Holmes, Ken Norton, Jimmy Ellis, Jerry Corey, Ron Lau. I fought everybody except Joe Frazier and George Foreman. They turned me down.
They turned you down. Well, rightfully so, because, I mean, those guys were hearing about your power punch. I mean, you had Larry Holmes down in the first fight. I think it was in the 6th round you had him down. You knocked out Ken Norton in 1 round. Can you imagine? 1 round, he knocks out Ken Norton. Went 15 rounds with the greatest, Muhammad Ali. You know, I mean, not many people can say that.
Well, I had a great career. I could punch pretty good, so Archie Moore told me, look, Ernie, the shorter the fight is, less chance you getting hurt. So go in there and take him out. So I did.
Wow. I tell you, Tony,
Yes, sir.
you know, I know you are a great puncher yourself. How many knockouts did you have in your career?
I was 49, hitting 1, 30, 34, 36.
Okay. That's a pretty good knockout ratio for lightweight and super lightweight. Earnie had 89 fights, 74 by knockout. I take it back. He had 89 wins, 68 by knockout. Am I correct?
Yeah.
68 by knockout. I mean, it goes to show that the man has some punching power. I mean, they said it, he goes down to the Guinness Book of Records as the hardest hitting heavyweight. I mean, Larry Holmes, when he went down, tell me, you had him down on the canvas. How did he revive himself? What happened?
Well, I hit Larry so hard, Larry soon hit the floor and woke him up.
Wow. They go to the show. I mean, Earnie. One day I was doing the pads with Earnie in the boxing ring. I have a gym at my house. You've been there, Tony. And I had him in the ring, and I was doing the pads with him, and he hit me with that right hand punch on my mitts, just under my mitts. I said, "Wow, I never been hit so hard in my life." And it's so quick. He still's got the spark of the old Flash. The man still got it.
Can I ask Earnie a question?
What's that?
Can I ask Earnie a question?
Go ahead, ask him anything you want. As long as you don't hit you or you don't hit him, I don't want to referee this fight. Go ahead, ask him a question.
Who was the hardest hitting heavyweight you've ever faced?
Had to be Ron Lau from Denver, Colorado. Lau.
Ron Lyle.
Yeah.
Huh.
Why is that? What would you say that? What happened there? What happened in that fight that you say he hit so hard?
Well, I had Lau down. I fought him in Denver. Had him down. Fight should have been over, but long count. He got up and he stopped me.
He stopped you?
Yeah. In the end, yeah.
Wow. So he's the hardest hitting heavyweight for you, as far as you're concerned.
Yes,
For you.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else differs from that because they say that you are the hardest. I mean, Muhammad Ali says it, Larry Holmes, Ken Norton, all them guys say it. You probably had an off night that night, but yeah, technically you were up against the best out there, and so you guys really had it all as heavyweights.
Oh yeah. Guys like George Foreman, Lau, myself, we all were good punchers.
Tony, who was the hardest hitting fighter lightweight when you were fighting?
I had two of them. One would have been Tim Brooks from Sacramento, and another guy was this Mexican kid from Mexico. I don't remember his name. But it was, I fought him in I had lost the title and had to fight a preliminary, a 10-rounder to get it back.
It wasn't Pancho Villa, was it?
It might have been. It could have been. But this guy hit so hard. These guys hit so hard. He hit me. The first punch he hit me with was the left hook to my shoulder, and it hurt. And the first time in my career, in my head, I went, ow. I thought, to myself, that hurt. I better get rid of this guy before he catches.
Yeah.
And I think I stopped him in like the 5th or 6th round, but I had to jump on him because he hit hard.
Well, good thing I wasn't fighting in your era.
Why?
Because I probably would have had a tough time with you. I was going to say I probably would have hit harder than that guy, but you know what? I'll give you credit. You were 3-time world champion. I'm not going to argue with you, but I had a little spark of the old Flash. And I always said, my right don't get you, the left one will. But, I got to take my hat off to you. 3-time world champion, Tony Tiger Lopez. And you got Earnie Shaver here to my left. I look at this man. I keep looking. I keep saying to myself, this man is so good looking, so young. And he's still got the charisma and the intelligence of the days when he was fighting. You guys are really have been my heroes in my career. Watching you guys has been unbelievable. Being an official myself, as a referee for so many years in boxing, but when I look at great, outstanding talent like Tony Tiger Lopez and Earnie Shavers, I say to myself, wow, every time I look at this guy. But I look at Earnie Shavers right here. Man, Earnie, are you still 55 or what? You look like you're still in your 40s, man.
Well, I just took care of myself my entire life. I never drank, smoked, or did drugs. Worst thing I ever did, one day I took 2 scoops of ice cream instead of 1. That's it.
Oh, okay. See that? Not bad. Tony, how have you kept yourself going so good looking, young? I hear you're doing some movies. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know what? I've been actually really busy in movies. I got another movie coming up with a 10-day shoot, so that's a pretty decent part in the movie. And I've done a lot of local movies. I've done a lot of stuff for the film festivals. And the stuff I do for the film festivals, I do it for practice. It's like training for a fight. I like doing them because I get to practice. And they set you up for bigger parts. And I've met a lot of people in the movie industry already, and it's really good. It's really cool, and I like it. It's just something to keep me busy, I guess. But it works for me.
So that means that one day I have the hopes that maybe one day watching the Oscars and maybe see Tony the Tiger Lopez walk up there and receive an Oscar. Is that a possibility, or is that just a dream?
No, that's a high possibility.
That's a high
I
possibility.
wouldn't do it if I don't want to be the best.
You want to be the best?
Yes, sir.
Well, I like that. Maybe you'll make it. You got the looks. You got the smarts.
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to it. If you get a Tony Award, that'll be happy. I'll be happy to see you get that. Anything, as long as it's some kind of a award to make you bigger than what you are already.
Thank you very much. I'm working hard for it.
I got my friend here, Ernie Shavers, is smiling, and I'm looking at him, and he's probably saying to himself, I can be a movie star as well. I just have not been given the opportunity. Ernie, if you were given the opportunity to be a movie star, what would you like to be?
Well, movies are great. They're great, but
what part would you like to have in a movie? If I was a director and I came up to you and said, Ernie, I got a part for you in a movie. I don't know what to give you. What would you like to be? What would you be your answer?
Oh, probably just a knockout artist. Come on, get the power out. Pop.
Okay, but being maybe he could look like he plays the part of maybe an executive in a hotel. But when I first met him, walking down in the casino, down the lobby, I thought, here comes a big executive, all dressed up with his nice suit, shirt, nice white shirt, and bow tie. Nice tie, looking sharp. I was ready to ask him the directions, how to get here, what time was the show going to start, because he looked like an executive. I said, oh, hell no, this are Ernie Shavers, man. The guy looks so good. It still looks good.
Thank you, Joe. Yes, I took care of myself since I was 12 years old. I never had one bad habit, and I never drank, smoked, drug, nothing.
Okay.
Get plenty of investments, proper food, got a good wife to make sure I'm well fed.
So what are you doing these days, Ernie?
Well, I do autograph signing now. I do quite a few. I do about 5 weeks a week, a month. 5 nights a month. I do autograph signing.
Okay.
At the hotel. And we get to travel. I'll be traveling pretty soon here in Arizona. So the fight game opened a lot of doors for me now, business-wise.
Now, you're going to be up in New York this week?
Yeah, I'll be in New York this week doing a show there.
In Rochester, that is, right?
In Rochester, yes.
Okay, very good. So that's good. So Ernie's going to keep himself going. Tony, and you keep yourself going with the boxing game. You doing anything with the youth programs up there? You told me you have a young kid that's fighting. Can you tell me a little bit about that young man?
Yes, he just fought yesterday in Reno.
Okay.
He's come from Guatemala, 125 pounder. They didn't have a 125 pounder, so he fought at 130 yesterday. And Joe, I'm telling you, if this kid keeps on going the way he's going, and I've only trained him for a few months, maybe 3 months, and I'm telling you, this is what boxing has been waiting for. This kid has everything it takes. He has the heart, he has desire, he has punch. We took him to Reno
right.
And to fight, they didn't have a 125 pounder, so he goes, I'll fight 130. I said, okay, fine. Because he is fine. I thought he can have a decision.
Right. Now, let me ask a question.
Yes, sir?
How do you see boxing today compared to the days when you were fighting?
Total opposite. I really fought because I like to fight. I knew the money was going to be there. It's not the money they're making today.
Right.
But, I knew for my time the money was going to be there. I didn't worry about that. I worried about winning. And today, and boxing has changed so much. It's in a sad way for me. It's like back then there was rules and regulations to every WBC, WBA. They all had rules and regulations. Like you had to fight you had to defend your title every season.
Right.
What happened to that? Where'd that go?
Right.
What happened to fighting the number one contender? If you're the champion, why you fight number 10, number 9, number 8, number 5, 4, 3, 2? You fight number 1.
Yeah, well, there are some sanctioning bodies that mandate that a fighter who's a champion has a mandatory number one contender he has to fight. If he doesn't fight the number one contender, then he's liable to be a strip of his title. That's why you have a lot of these interim championship fights. But sometimes when you defend the title and you beat the number one contender, then you have the option to fight whoever you want to fight until it becomes mandatory again with so many months after you defend your title. But I know what you're saying. A lot of fans are seeing a lot of fighters out there who are just fighting once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And all these contenders are waiting there online. And some of these contenders are not as young as they were when they started out. They want to get that one more shot. But meanwhile, they're getting older. And you will know that in boxing, you can get old overnight. If you're especially in your 30s, 35, 36, I mean, Gennady Golovkin is still one of the outstanding middleweights out there. But any day now, he's going to find himself on the other end. They're going to say, people say, what happened to Triple G? Well, he got old. He was 30 or 35. Before you know it, his fighting days are over. That's why some of these contenders are looking to fight as soon as possible, but the champion is not given the opportunity. And there goes a title fight down the drain for these guys. The champion may already have millions put away, and these contenders are still fighting for a couple of $100,000. They're looking for that big paycheck to get a $2 or $3 million fight, and sometimes it never happens.
Right.
But that's the way it is in boxing these days. It's a big business. I mean, we love the sport, and but sometimes a lot of sanctioning bodies, they kind of play around with the titles as far as who can fight now, who cannot fight now. And I tell you, I know WPC has always tried to, most sanctioning bodies have always tried to give the fighters a fair chance to get the fights, but sometimes some fighters hurt their hands and they can't fight. There's fighters, like recently, you had a couple of world champions that had to relinquish their title because they were not defending the title because of injuries. And they would just keep on and on, one injury after the other. And, some of these titles had to be vacated. And then these fighter 1 and 2, like Keith Thurman, had to relinquish his welterweight championship. And now you have Danny Garcia and Sean Porter fighting for the welterweight championship because that title was vacant. Keith Thurman is one of the best welterweights out there, but he continues having injuries and whatnot. So they get stripped of their title, and sometimes you say, well, why? He's one of the better ones. But sometimes injury gets in the way. And that's so the sanctioning bodies, they understand that you got these contenders out there waiting. How long can they wait? And you have to be fair. It's not easy.
Right. And cause I'm a fight fan. I really am. Although I'm a boxer, I'm a fight fan, and I want to see good fights too. But it's changed. Like here in Sacramento, boxing has gone down to me here in Sacramento because you have trainers that the easiest way to explain it. Watch, I have a gym in my garage. I don't. Let's just say I had a gym in my garage, and you're bringing your kid to my garage, and you come once a week. You've been doing it for like a year. And you see, and I'm charging you $100 to $150 to train your kid in my garage. I have 20 kids training 3 times a day in my garage. You're thinking, dude, this guy's making a lot of money. So you think, well, I've been here long enough. I could do this myself. So you go out and you open up a gym in your garage, and guess what? You're going to have a bunch of kids over there, too. Now you're making money, but you know nothing about boxing. You just brought your kid to my garage, right? So you open up your gym, and guess what? Kids have such big hearts when they're young, because all kids do. They all want to win, and they fight really hard. Some of them don't. I mean, you got right-handers moving to your right, and you have people that don't know. I have a fighter now who's amateur. Today, he knows how to fight a southpaw. He can move like a southpaw. He's right-handed, but he knows how to do everything.
Tony, I want you to hold that thought right there. We're going to go into a little brief commercial. And listeners, stay tuned. Hold on. We got a lot to talk about. Okay, we're back. We're back here on the air with Tony the Tiger Lopez and former heavyweight contender Earnie Shaver. I hate to say former, but he still looks like present. He still looks like he's still got it today. Anyway, Tony, so finish up with you telling me about this young fighter and the gyms. What happened after that?
Well, so you open up your own gym, and kids are going to fight, and they fight hard. And guess what? Although you know very little about boxing, you're going to come up with some winners. And the crazy thing is, in today's boxing world, you're going to make a few champions.
Right.
That's why you got left-handers. That's why you got right-handers that don't have no idea how to fight a southpaw, or moving on the right side of a southpaw right into the power hand. That's crazy. It's just changed a lot. And I have an amateur fighter right now, and he just fought in Reno Saturday, and I'm teaching him old school boxing. He went out there, destroyed a kid in one round. The kid had 3 fights. It was his first fight, destroyed him. Matter of fact, they quit on the stool after the first round. They said, "That's it, that's enough."
Right.
Now it was only one round. He had his mouth was bleeding, his nose was bleeding, his eye was swollen, almost real nasty. He had swollen on his left eye. I mean, that's what boxers are supposed to do. That's boxing to me. Because that's right. Because that's where I come from.
Right. Okay, you know what, Tony? I want to ask Ernie Shavers a little bit about his background in the amateur before he turned pro. Ernie, tell me a little bit about. You were one of the great heavyweights in boxing. How did you get involved? How did it start?
Well, I started in Youngstown, Ohio. A good friend of mine was trying to recruit me for one of the local trainers there. So January 3rd, 1967, I walked into the gym, put the gloves on, and I could punch from day one. The trainer said, "Man, you can become champ of the world, make yourself a lot of money." I said, "What?"
How do you develop your punching power, Ernie?
Well, I grew up on a farm. I did a lot of chopping trees. We had a wooden furnace. I did a lot of chopping trees and throwing bales of hay. And then it's already, when I started boxing, the power was already there. That's all. I got it.
So you were born with the power, but you developed it on the farm.
Yeah.
Throwing the hay axe?
Throwing bales of hay and chopping trees down. We had a wooden furnace. We chopped a lot of trees down here with the coal. So it helped, did quite well. Really helped me tremendously.
Yeah, the man still got the power. He got big hands. Let me see your hands, Ernie. Yeah, you got big hands, man. I don't want to get hit with those hands. Tony, in boxing, a lot of fighters, they come out there, they were like Ken Norton, they're big and muscular and everything. They look like Hercules. Look, guys, they look at you, they knock you down. Ernie Shavers got in there with one of the toughest heavyweights of all time, the great Ken Norton. Ernie puts him away in less than the one round.
And that tells you something about Ernie, doesn't it?
I tell you, even Ali said it, Larry Holmes, that they see Ernie coming down the street, they cross to the other side of the street. They don't even want to be walking on the same sidewalk. They see Ernie Shavers walking down, because Ernie has so much talent, and he has so much charisma. But you know what about Ernie? He's a gentleman inside the ring, outside the ring as well. I remember Muhammad Ali, when the referee was giving you the instructions, Ali was rubbing Ernie's head with his glove on the top. Ernie, tell us a little bit about that.
All he's trying to upset you. If you get upset, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to try to hurt him, and you burn yourself out. So.
But he rubbing your head, why?
Yeah. He's trying to upset me, get me.
But he called you the acorn.
Yeah. Well, because I have a shaved head, and all he was a nice guy, but he's trying to get you upset. So you make mistakes. You try to hurt him and knock him out. You make a lot of mistakes.
Okay, now Muhammad Ali, you all of us said that he's been one of the greatest of all times. How was your relationship with Muhammad Ali?
Ali and I were very, very good friends. He helped me along the way as I got started, gave me use of his training camp. No charge me a dime for anything. Give me a lot of advice. I listened to him and it worked out well.
What were some of the great pointers he gave you in your boxing career?
He told me, don't try to kill the guy. Don't try to knock him out. Take your time. Set him up. Do 4 or 5 jabs. And then jab a hand, you come, bam, bam. Throw the hand behind the jab. Either way you punch, you take him out.
Well, that was a good pointer from Muhammad Ali, the greatest. That's something no one would ever forget. You fighting Muhammad Ali, going 15 rounds with Muhammad Ali. You fans out there, you want to see that fight easily. Go to YouTube and check it out. You see the great Ernie Shavers, the style. He was so compact. He kept it all together. Nothing wild. His punch was pretty straight and accurate. Short, but very powerful. Now, Archie Moore had to say what about you? What kind of pointer did Archie Moore, former light heavyweight champion of the world, one of the greatest, what pointers did he give you?
Archie told me, he said, Ernie, relax. Always hide your right hand behind the jab. throw a jab out there first, it should come together like bam, bam. Soon as the jab land, my hand right behind it. He said, he becomes so fast, he can't get away. You take him out.
Yeah, I remember you hitting these guys with a quick right hand. They were wicked, straight right hand, right down the pipe. And these guys they were out on their backs. I mean, having a 68 knockouts out of 89 fights. I mean, it means a lot, you know.
Well, first thing you got to do is look, Ernie. You've been fighting a pretty good while, so get the fight so as soon as you can. You get the same money if the fight go 1 mile or go 10. I was like, why go 10?
Exactly. Why take any chances?
Yeah.
You know, but that guy, Ron Lyle, gave you a run for your money, though, eh?
Oh, yeah, I fought Lyle in Denver, but the rules changed. I had him hurt. The fight should have been over. He gave him a long count, and he came back.
Yeah, now I saw Lyle fighting George Foreman.
Yeah.
And that was a fight where they both each other down several times during the fight. And at the end, it was George Foreman who stopped Ron Lyle.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They both were great punchers. It was a good fight. I seen the fight. It was a good fight.
Now, was there ever any talk of you fighting George Foreman in that era or not?
George didn't want nothing to do with me. So Archie Moore trained George, trained me. To George, stay away from him. He punched you hard. So George, I see George now. Archie Moore told me to stay away from you, and I'm glad I did. He laughed and keep walking.
Now, you were you sparring with George Foreman?
No, we don't spar together. No, we have the same training, but in different areas. No, we don't spar together at all.
Okay. Tony, your sparring days when you were coming out of the amateurs into the pros, walk us through that. How was that transition from the amateurs into the pros?
Well, it was a big difference. Because my first 3 years, I was Bobby Chacon's main sparring partner. So, a lot of people, that know me, they go, man, your style's just like Bobby's. Well, I sparred with him for my first 3 years of my pro career was with Bobby. Helping him get ready for all his fights. Every time, that was his main sparring partner. So that's where I got a lot of my skills from.
So what can you tell us about Bobby Chacon in his years when you knew him and you trained with him? How was it with him?
Bobby was this guy that didn't look like he hit real hard, but oh my God, he had this. When he hit you with the body shots, it was almost like he was clubbing you with them, and like with his hands, like almost like a clubbing. But oh my goodness, he hit extremely hard. He was very heavy-handed, and I tell you what, the first year I got my butt beat every day, every single day. My nose was fat. I had swollen eyes. My lips were fat. I looked beat up every single day. I kept telling myself, one day I'm going to get him. One day. And it didn't happen that year. So, because my daily schedule was, because I lived on my own, I woke up at 4, went to work, got off at 2:30, went to train at the park at 3, and then I drove to Oroville every day. I guess it's like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. And we trained in Bobby's backyard the first year, right? And then so I would go in there, take my butt whooping every day, come back, try to figure out how to do it, how to beat him. Well, It didn't happen that year. Second year we met a little bit closer. It was in Marysville. The third year we were in Marysville you can see the tides change, and that's what really for me you can see the Bobby's the ending coming, because the first year he was killing me. The second year there was days when Will would say, "Hey Tony, take it easy," and my thought was, because I was young, my thought was, oh, no, I'm not. He didn't take it easy on me. I'm not taking it easy on him. When we went to war every day. In the third year, we trained here in Sacramento. Third year, there was a lot more days when Will was saying, hey, take it easy, take it easy. We never did. And let me tell you something about Bobby. He never took a step back, ever. This man kept coming and kept hitting, and he was a machine, man. It was a great experience for me.
Okay, Tony, we're going to go into a brief commercial. We'll be right back. Listeners, don't change that channel. Stay right there. All right, Tony, we're back on the line here. Listeners, we have two great legends in boxing, Tony Tiger Lopez and the great Earnie Chavez, the hardest-hitting heavyweight in the history of boxing. Well, Tony, we have 1 minute to wrap it up with you. I just want to ask you a couple of more questions. Now, I know that you've been involved doing fundraisers in the community, working with kids. We do celebrity golf tournaments and whatnot. tell us a little bit about what you're doing in the community, helping out with the kids.
You know, right now I'm working in the school. It's called Cesar Chavez, right here in California, and it's you get kicked out of high school, you go to continuation school. You get kicked out of continuation school, you go to Cesar Chavez. So it's like the last stance before juvenile hall. And you know, the good thing here, you know, we try to redirect these kids. We've done an amazing job actually. Some kids now, these kids are never expected to graduate. We've had kids graduating every year. Instead of going to juvenile hall, they're getting on with their life and moving forward. You know, it's a good thing, you know. And you know, they respect me, I respect them. Sometimes they can be a little wild and crazy, and they can be a little tough. But you know, they all have that. There's that line. You know, they don't cross the line, so we're all good. So it's a good thing for everybody.
Well, Tony, I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us today. We hope to talk to you soon. God bless you always. And keep your guards up at all times.
Yes, sir. We'll do it. Thank you, buddy.
Okay, buddy. All right. Now, Ernie, we're going to wrap it up here with you. We always give the heavyweight the closing knockout punch. So we're going to let you finish up and tell me a little bit about your greatest moment in boxing in 1 minute. Go ahead.
My greatest moment in boxing had to be my fight Muhammad Ali. And most of the world had eyes on the fight and watched it. And Ali opened my doors for me. Been a great competitor, been a good friend. So I thank God that we met and I had a chance to fight him.
Well, you heard it there from none other than Ernie Shavers, the hardest hitting heavyweight in the history of boxing. And we had the great Tony the Tiger Lopez, 3-time world champion, on the show with us today. Listeners, one thing I give you guys advice on is protect yourselves at all times. Keep your guards up at all times. And remember, I'm fair, but I'm firm. Touch them up.